Hi and welcome to Best in Tesla News episode 300. Yes, that is 300 weeks straight. But still on holiday, so still a little bit different. But this episode number 300 is a big one. Because we just got Tesla's shareholder meeting and Elon's pay package was approved. And a new quarter, but the same old headlines about Tesla. And Tesla's Megapack business is growing fast, but it will only grow faster from here on out. And Google has just announced that they will build an AI data center in space. And we had a lot of full self-driving news this week, but not only just about Tesla. And BYD is starting to show some crack in their foundation, as they had to lower their 2025 target by 900,000 units in sales. And Tesla has finally added vehicle to load to more vehicles than just the Cybertruck. All of this and much more in today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
So Tesla held their shareholder meeting and Elon's pay package was approved.
Sixth and finally, on the 2025 CEO Performance Award to our founder and CEO Elon Musk, with over 75% voting in favor, approved.
Yes, Elon's pay package was approved with 75% of shareholder voting yes. So it seems like the shareholders like Elon to get paid if he makes shareholders a lot of money. What do you know? And every time we vote for Elon's pay package, it's more than 70% that says yes. So I don't think there can be any more doubt that shareholders want Elon to get the share of Tesla that he wants to keep going and get Tesla to the next phase. But Tesla also shared some videos about their Cybercab production line. So that was very cool to see that the line is already up and running, and now they just have to fine-tune everything for the production starting in April next year on their whole new unboxed production method. So very cool. They also showed us some videos of their Optimus prototype production line, but Tesla will also start their production at the high volume production line for their Optimus Gen 3 starting April next year as well. But Tesla has also shared the new Tesla Semi design that is more efficient, increased payload, and designed for autonomy. And they will also start deliveries of these monsters next year. So the first half of 2026 is going to be a very eventful for Tesla. So I am looking very much forward to all of that. But Elon also said he thinks that Tesla will have to make their own chip fab, as they can't get enough chips from the chips manufacturer to do the growth that Tesla wants to do. So that's very exciting to hear, because Elon also said that because full self-driving is basically solved now, or at least within the next couple of months, Tesla will now focus on scaling production again. So he said he expects Tesla to get to a production run rate of 2.6 million by the end of next year. So that is awesome to hear. Then Tesla will probably have a chance to become even bigger than BMW in unit sales. In Q3, Tesla was bigger than both Audi and Mercedes, so BMW is kind of the last premium German car maker that Tesla is missing. But Tesla expects to keep ramping up from there on out, and in 2028 maybe even get to 4 million units. So that was very cool to hear that Tesla is back focusing on growing in production. And Tesla's last car made for driving, the Roadster, they have a plan for the 1st of April event to show the demo that Elon has been talking about before. That should be the best and wildest production reveal in history. So that demo is definitely hyped as much as possible. But all in all, a very nice shareholder meeting with some great insights, and it really sounds like the first half of next year is going to be absolutely explosive for Tesla. So very hyped for the next 6 to 8 months for Tesla. I think this will be some of the most important months in Tesla's history, but time will tell. And a new quarter, but the same old headline from the mainstream media about Tesla sales collapsing. Reuters is at it again. Funny how I have been doing this every single year, every first month of a quarter, for the last 5 years. Tesla sales are down in October compared to September, yes, but the Tesla Model Y was, funny enough, the best-selling car overall in Europe in September. But that was also the last month of Q3, so as expected, Tesla did very nicely. But then comes the first month of the next quarter, and as always, Tesla sales are down, as this is Tesla's export month. But I am willing to bet that we will see Tesla sales rise in November and December as always, but no doubt that Reuters will not make an article about that. But not only was it the best-selling car overall in September, but Tesla is also still dominating the BEV market in Europe, as you can see on this chart, even beating out Volkswagen in September in Europe. So this is really a nothing burger trying to make Tesla look bad, even though they are leading the way in Europe with their Model Y as the best-selling BEV by far in 2025, even with the shutdown of the Berlin factory and refreshed Model Y. And no other models is even close. But sure, Tesla is down in October, as they are every single year. Great journalism there, Reuters. But it is not just in Europe that the Tesla Model Y is dominating. In Australia, we can also see that the Model Y is being number one year to date, even selling more than twice the amount of the runner-up, that is BYD's C-Line. And then we have the Tesla Model 3 coming in a third. And as you can also see on this list here from Australia, Tesla sold almost 4,000 units in September and only 700 units in October. Oh no, sales has collapsing according to Reuters, just like they did from June with their 3,500 units in sale down to only 500 units in sale in July. Oh no, another collapse. I mean that Reuters can print such garbage journalism and still be around is impressive all on its own. I have literally been showing this every first month of a quarter for the last 5 years of doing this show. And as the haters come out of their cave in the first month of every quarter and then suddenly becomes very quiet after month number 2 and 3 of every quarter. And even though Tesla sales in Germany have basically collapsed to 1/3 of its previous sales, it's nothing compared to Lucid, that in all of October sold one car. Yes, you heard that right. It was one car. So that is 129 times lower than last year. Not looking too good for Lucid in Germany either. But one thing we also hear is that people just want affordable EVs. Well, we might get the answer to that very soon with GM's new Bolt that will only cost $30,000 and start deliveries in December. But even before GM starts deliveries, we see GM might not be sure about the demand for their truly affordable EV, as they are cutting back on production target already because of the loss of the EV tax credit. But going to be very interesting to see how well GM's new Bolt will sell with the affordable price tag. And Tesla's Megapack business is growing fast, but it will only grow faster from here on out as demand seems to be basically endless. Tesla's Megapack shared a new video and wrote, Megapack grid-forming inverters are key to enabling global grid stability and reliability. This technology allows Megapacks to resist changes on the network by creating its own voltage signal, preventing blackouts and allowing more renewable to come online. But let's hear it from Tesla themselves.
Here we are approaching the Corangi battery energy storage system, a 185 megawatt, 370 megawatt hour system, just outside Corangi, Victoria. This project is one of the first in a long line of grid-forming battery storage projects that will unlock more renewables for the national electricity market. There's an abundance of clean energy in the area, solar especially, but the transmission network in the area faces operational challenges as a result of low system strength, which is limiting the amount of renewables that can connect to the existing infrastructure. System strength is the measure of the grid's resilience, so its ability to resist changes to the network as a result of a disturbance, such as a fault or a sudden change of power on the network. Up until now, grid operators have relied on system strength to come from traditional generators, such as coal and gas turbines. And these turbines provide this service through their physical characteristics of rotating mass and magnetic fields, resist changes in the voltage, and keep the network stable. Weak grids can struggle to stay stable, making it harder to connect renewable generators that rely on a steady voltage. Tesla's Megapack uses grid-forming inverters, which generate their own voltage signal, allowing them to operate independently of the voltage on the network. This strong voltage signal restores and maintains grid stability, which supports the connection of more renewable energy into that part of the network. This is what makes the AEMO agreement really exciting, because it's a shift towards leveraging innovative technologies such as grid-forming inverters for the provision of system strength.
So this really is a step change in the confidence in this technology and supporting the grid, particularly as we transition to 100% renewable energy.
And Elon also tuned in and wrote, Megapacks will carry a lot of the world's load and energy, as it allows power plants to run continuously. Yes, as he also said at the shareholder meeting, that our energy generation basically only runs on 50% of its capacity, so battery storage can actually double the output of the already existing power generation. But peer-reviewed research, such as EIII studies on inverter-based resources, confirms grid-forming capabilities reduce blackout risk by 20 to 50% in high renewable scenarios, positioning Megapacks as a scalable solution for global energy reliability without fossil fuel peakers. Yes, this will change our grid and energy generation forever and help us to get to that 100% renewable grid. People saying that running a grid on 100% renewable is not possible don't understand this part of the equation. And Tesla is making new big deals for even more batteries for their Megapacks, as Samsung SDI has reportedly reached an agreement with Tesla to supply more than $2.1 billion worth of energy storage system batteries to Tesla over 3 years, according to Korean Economic Daily, but nothing confirmed yet. Yes, Tesla's energy business has basically endless demand as of now, just as renewables are starting to really make a huge impact in areas that have installed a lot. The Australian government announced this week that electricity customers in 3 states will get free electricity for up to 3 hours per day starting in July 2026, thanks to the massive amount of solar that has been installed in recent years. Now we are at the level where we can share more of the power with more Australians. Chris Bowen, Minister for Climate Change and Energy, said, "The solar share plan will be available to everyone in New South Wales, South Australia and in the southern east part of Queensland to start. More region will be added later. Household won't need to have solar on their rooftop to qualify. The plan will help those that lives in apartment or don't have sustainable rooftop to benefit from their neighbors' panels." So this is yet another way of trying to make use of the excess of solar power generation during the day without having to install huge batteries, but making an incentive for people to charge their EVs during those 3 hours of free electricity. So another step on the way to the future for sustainable abundance. And Google has announced that they will launch an AI data center in space, launching in 2027. But Microsoft CEO also just made one of the most revealing comments on their entire AI cycle when he said Microsoft has Nvidia's GPUs sitting in racks that cannot be turned on because there is not enough energy to feed them. The real constraint is not compute but power and data center space. This is exactly why access to power data centers has become the new leverage point. Yes, this is exactly what Elon predicted a few years back when he said energy is going to be the limiting factor for AI, not GPUs. And that is exactly why Google now wants to put data centers into space. Project Suncatcher, solar-powered satellites at 650 kilometers altitude running AI workloads directly from the sun. The physics advantages are definitive. 8 times more solar capture with no atmosphere and nighttime, vacuum cooling that eliminates 40% of ground data center cost, and radiation-hardened TPUs tested to 15 times mission requirements. Google launching 2 satellites early 2027, each carrying 4 TPUs to prove it works. So that is very cool, and we know who is going to fly all of those TPUs into space, as SpaceX is the cheapest ticket to orbit. So this just means more business for SpaceX, and also a good example of why it is so difficult to try to look out in the future with today's technology to predict where things are going. Just as we saw people saying that AI data centers would use too much energy, but the GPUs has become many times more efficient also, but now we are also seeing completely new ways of doing things, with data centers not even being part of Earth's energy system, but having their own energy system up in space. I don't think many people would have predicted this just 3 to 4 years ago. And Elon also threw some big ideas out there this week with saying quantum computing is best done in the permanently shadowed crater on the moon. So this might sound like yet another crazy idea from Elon, but it actually makes a lot of sense, as quantum computing needs extreme cold and perfect stability to work. So the moon's perfectly shadowed crater like Shackleton stays at minus 200 degrees Celsius with no atmosphere, no noise, no heat, no weather, the ultimate natural lab for quantum physics. On Earth, we spend millions creating those same conditions artificially. On the moon, they already exist. So this could also be a nice place for AI data centers and much more in the future when we establish a moon base. But it is all a very good showcase of what I always say: never try to predict the future with today's technology, or you will end up being very wrong. But no matter what, it all sounds like great news for Elon's SpaceX, as they have the workhorse of the space industry with their Falcon 9 rocket that put about 90% of all cargo to space today, and they are working on the next big step with their Starship that will make it even cheaper to get to space. I think SpaceX will have a lot of work ahead of them in the near future. But Elon was also out thinking big, as he wrote. A large solar-powered AI satellite constellation would be able to prevent global warming by making tiny adjustments in how much solar energy reaches Earth. It might also sound crazy, but remember, Elon rarely says stuff like this without something coming out of it. So maybe yet another new technology coming in the future. And we had a lot of full self-driving news this week, but it was not only just about Tesla. Tesla shared this post: humans won't get any better at driving, but full self-driving keeps improving. Yes, exactly. People think the Tesla system won't get any better just because Waymo hasn't really improved much over the last many years, but the Tesla fleet makes sure that Tesla system is learning more and faster than anything else on planet Earth. Just as Josh, head of business development at Charging at Tesla, wrote, most people still don't get it. Waymo needs vehicles, autonomous tech, ride-hailing, charging network, and hardware, but we are building the full stack, end to end. Yes, this is still something most people don't get when they think Waymo will be in competition to Tesla when Tesla get to scale up massively. Waymo simply can't. And they don't have the whole ecosystem. They need basically everything from someone else. Tesla makes everything themselves. And they also work everywhere, which Waymo doesn't. They need geofencing and map every road they want to drive on. Tesla is just waiting for approval, just like in Europe, as Sawyer posted. It's ultimately up to the local European governments to decide when to allow Tesla to begin full self-driving supervised testing and use. Tesla obviously wants this to happen as soon as possible and has been actively pushing for approval. In the meantime, Tesla owner can help by contacting their local representatives of governments and regulators to urge them to approve the launch of full self-driving in Europe, since delaying will cost lives. Yes, exactly, it will cost lives, but it is not the European governments, as Sawyer says here. It is the UNECE that makes these decisions. So what he's suggesting here doesn't really work, but it really seems like like the UNECE, are really trying to delay this as much as possible, as we have been waiting for approval since May of this year. And it is probably because they know this will be very bad for the European automakers, as they are nowhere near having a system as Tesla does, that can drive basically everywhere supervised. But yes, delaying this software will cost lives. But the software is not just going to save lives, but also change lives too. But it is already doing that today. Just listen to this guy.
Great. Hi, I'm here with Scott. Scott, nice to meet you. We are in Dallas, Plano, I guess. Yeah, I just want to see if you like your car. Like, what do you think about it?
It's a great car.
Yeah?
I enjoy it. I enjoy driving it. And for me, the self-driving is a lifesaver.
Oh, so you do use FSD?
Everywhere I go.
Is it your first Tesla?
Yes.
All right. Would you consider to buy anything else but Tesla at this point in time?
My wife has an Audi Q8,
Right.
and I'm going to buy her next.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
What she thinks about FSD?
Oh, she loves this.
Right.
Yeah, but she likes to drive it. See, my issue is that I had it attached to Retina, and my vision hadn't come back all the way.
I'm sorry to
So
hear
I'm not comfortable driving. So I got a car that'll drive
that.
me.
Oh my gosh. So that's the only car in the world that will help you to drive.
It's the only car that'll drive me from A to B.
So you see, that's unbelievable. People don't get that.
Yeah.
That FSD is not just like a gimmick. It's not like a like party trick. It actually helps people.
I couldn't drive without it.
And speaking of full self-driving software, Volkswagen is starting development of its own chip for ADAS system. The high-performance processor, which Volkswagen is developing in a joint venture called Carison with Beijing-based AI company Horizon Robotics, is designed to process data from cameras and sensors in real time to control advanced assistance system and automated driving functions. And the chip is being developed in China for China, so trying to get competitive again in the Chinese market. So yet another partnership for Volkswagen. Remember, they are also partnering up with Mobileye. We can really start to see that Volkswagen buying the software company Carrot has never really paid off. Volkswagen still need partners for basically all aspects of their software, from Rivian and Xpeng and so many others, and they still don't just want Rivian software, but make their own for every brand in the group, complicating the hell out of even that. But when we see these videos like this, you understand how desperate Volkswagen must be at this point. As this guy wrote, I'm glad someone called Volkswagen's ID4 system crashing. Mine is only 40 days old, and this has happened 5 or 6 times with the same weird sound. Sometimes it restarts quickly, but one time it took half an hour. Very distracting and safety concern if you ask me. Yes, what a software disaster. Just listen to this.
Yes, but we didn't know it was going to take so long.
No. You have to turn on the car.
Car's on.
What do you mean?
The car's on. We're in drive. Oh. It's possessed. Why is it making noise? Did our whole system crash?
But now Volkswagen also want to do what Tesla has been doing for 13 years, collecting data from cameras and sensors. So Volkswagen is planning on starting now in the race of collecting data for autonomous system. But they need partners to do it, because Volkswagen has no idea how to make this work themselves. But I think it will be too little, too late. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this new show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. Tesla Energy shared a new video and wrote, Tesla electric customers in Texas earned over $1 million in bill credit this year by supporting grid stability through export and virtual power plant events. And we see that the Cybertruck is about to make its first international debut. As Sawyer reported, many Cybertruck has arrived in South Korea. First deliveries are expected to start soon, making it the first international Cybertruck deliveries. So cool. Can't wait to see how this beast does in South Korea. And Tesla shared, the Model Y standard says Hello World, produced at Giga Berlin, has started today. Nice, especially with the Hello World painted on the wall, where they are coming out of the factory driving themselves to the parking lot. And SAIC, Chang'an and Geely are putting real pressure on BYD in China market, as Michael Dunn reported. This pressure has caused BYD to reduce its 2025 sales target by 900,000 vehicles. BYD's 2025 sales target, originally 5.5 million, revised 4.6 million. 900,000 is not a small number. All of BYD's growth in 2025 has come from exports. Yes, and as AJ also reported, BYD's autos and battery business is in decline. BYD's global vehicle sales have decreased by 12.1% year-over-year in October, data released this morning shows. Yes, the cracks in BYD's foundation is really starting to show. And Audi's BEVs rated poor in safety tests, as Alex reported. The US Insurance Institute for Highway Safety has conducted its updated moderate offset crash test, and the Audi Q4 e-tron and the Q4 Sportsback e-tron fell well short of the target. Both electric crossover received a poor rating and thus was removed from the selection for the top safety pick. And Tesla has appointed a country head in India, as I reported. The company has hired Sharad Agarwal, something like that, who previously led Lamborghini India, to head local operation. He is starting this week. Nice. And Tesla owners also shared this post about recall, because Tesla haters are quick to point out if Tesla has a recall, or what we mostly just call an over-the-air update. A little something for the Tesla haters, nothing like facts to help. Recalls in 2009, and as we can see, Tesla has the least recalls, but even better data in percentage breakdown of their sales. And as you can see on this chart, Tesla is in a league of its own with only 1.5%, and Ford is still the automaker with the most recall with 15%. Jim Farley said a couple of years ago that quality was their number one priority to solve the issue that Ford had the most recall of any automakers, but nothing has changed. If you buy a Ford, there is a good chance you will have your car recalled. If you want a car that has the least chance of getting a recall, get a Tesla. And Mario also wrote this week, Tesla jumps 4% to $462 as Xpeng validate Elon's robotaxi vision. Tesla stock jumped 4.1% to $462 Wednesday, crushing the S&P 500 ahead of Tuesday's historic shareholder vote. The momentum, Chinese EV maker Xpeng just hosted an AI day, showcasing humanoid robots and self-driving taxis. They are literally building Elon's vision, validating everything Tesla has been working toward. Imitation is the sincerest form of validation. Yes, Xpeng has basically copied everything they can from Tesla, as they were also some of the first to use Tesla's open patent for their battery tech when Tesla open sourced it back in 2014. And yes, imitation is the sincerest form of validation. And Andrea, Tesla's Giga Berlin Senior Director of Manufacturing, wrote on X, "Today marks 1 year without any processed wastewater being discharged into the public sphere, achieved by the incredible Ninja Turtles, our advanced wastewater team facility. Making a sustainable product matter a lot, but doing it sustainably is just as important." Yes, indeed. And this comes only a few months after Tesla announced that Tesla Germany had returned 377,000 cubic meters of annual waters right to the Strasbourg-Echner Water Association. This was because the facility ended up using significantly less water than originally planned. And don't forget that Berlin also won the European Union's Eco-Management and Audit Scheme certification in September 2025 for its environmental performance. All in all, it's hard to find a better car factory than Tesla's Berlin factory in the world. You know, the one that all the so-called activists protested against. So either the activist was very poorly informed or paid by somebody to protest against Tesla, because it makes no sense whatsoever to protest against the car factory that does more for the environment than any other car factory in the country. And Starlink also wrote, Starlink Direct to Cell operates the largest Starlink to mobile constellation in the world, delivering data, voice, video and messaging to mobile dead zones across 5 continents. Since first activating service earlier this year, more than 8 million people and counting have relied on Starlink Direct to Cell to stay connected when terrestrial service is unavailable. Nice. And here is a nice chart that shows that no EVs doesn't just run on coal or fossil fuel. As this chart shows, fossil fuel account for less than 30% of the UK's electricity generation in the last 12 months. And this will only get better from here on out. And Jamath wrote on X and shared this chart. Why are batteries a national security issue? It is the energy source for critical applications today and even more importantly tomorrow. Cars, data center batteries, military, defense drones, robots, and as you can see on this chart, China is completely controlling this as of now. And as you can also see on this chart, in 2026, a global paradigm shift will happen as renewable energy will be the world's top power source. And speaking of energy generation, Justin shared this chart and wrote, China currently has 339 gigawatts of wind solar capacity under construction, roughly 2/3 of the world's total. China is leading the clean energy revolution. That's not a subject statement, it's a fact. Yes, the charts is a very good showcase of just how dominating China are in renewable energy as well. But Elon also talked about this in a new interview with the All In podcast as he said, China can make enough solar panels to power the US in 19 months. China has the ability to provide solar panels with a steady state output roughly 2/3 that of the entire US economy for all sources, which means that just with solar alone, China can, in 18 months, produce enough solar panels to power all of the electricity of the United States. Damn. And apparently we will soon be able to give a full self-driving subscription to someone thanks to Sawyer. Nice. And Sawyer also wrote, this month Tesla is installing its 75,000th supercharger stall worldwide. In the past month alone, Tesla has opened 65 new supercharging stations with a total of 861 charging stalls, and that's not even counting those added in China. Nice. No one is keeping up with Tesla in making the new infrastructure for our transportation sector. And Tesla has finally added a vehicle to load on more cars than just the Cybertruck, as Tesla has announced vehicle to load capabilities for the Model Y L in China. Please Tesla, bring this car to Europe as well, and soon, as my lease on my Model Y is running out here in December. And before we end up with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my new supporters of this channel, my new YouTube members, Chris Franzen, Lars Beck, and Keith G.A. And my longtime supporter, but updated to Best in Tesla superhero, Anna Stigmatics. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this show. Thank you. And let's end off with a bit of fun. A little video showing how stupid ICE cars really is and how convenient EVs really are.
It's the wrong place. Just point it in this direction. Come on. EV drivers, they think they're so special because they can charge at home. Well, guess what? Slowly. It's perfectly doable for petrol and diesel too. Something. Batteries are for toys. Loser. So, what are you waiting for, huh? Order it out.
That is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, so don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel, or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out as some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. It is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com. You can also become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos, behind the scenes, and access to all my research charts and spreadsheets also on bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.